got Olivia Kory, Chief Strategy Officer of Haus, joining the podcast. Olivia, we've been trying to make this happen for months. And so I'm so excited that we finally were able to get it on the books. You're doing a lot of these, so we're glad you were able to join ADSN. So thank you for coming on.
No, thank you guys. This is the highlight of my week. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I love it. On a Friday afternoon too. This is the best. Why don't we start? I mean, just you sit in a really unique place at Haus. You're doing measurement for a lot of like direct to consumer, e-commerce, some of the most notable kind of brands that we're all buying. And so you have a really interesting vantage point of how these brands are looking at their marketing mix, how they're measuring, and maybe how their brands have changed and their strategies have changed over the past few years. So I'm just curious at a high level, like what are you seeing today and how has that changed?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how it's changed, I've been doing the Haus thing now for about 4 years. And so just to kind of think about the journey that our customers have gone on from the beginning until now, one thing is like incrementality was actually not, it was like not kind of universally accepted as gold standard. So like that's new in terms of customers actually evaluating their marketing through like a causal lens and a causal framework like that. That's certainly something that we've seen increasing more and more over time. And you just see like the level of sophistication when it comes to measurement has really leveled up. But then from a macro standpoint, in terms of like their businesses and what's going on, we're seeing that you can't just like be a D2C only brand anymore. Like that playbook is so hard to run. And so we're seeing a lot of these brands who are coming in and they're like immediately trying to crack retail, trying to figure out how to get into Costco. They're on TikTok shops, they're in Amazon. And what's also interesting there is like they like the teams that are doing really well are like unifying those P&Ls into one P&L, because if you're only like measuring .com in a silo, you're only measuring Amazon retail, it looks like .com is in your like meta spend is doing nothing for the business, when in reality there's like probably a nice halo on these other channels. And so we're seeing that like they're coming in, they're seeing efficiency struggle on D2C. They're launching in retail and Amazon. And with that, they need to expand their measurement in order to make sure they have full visibility into this whole picture as well. And with that, like you also kind of need to change your channel playbook in terms of ad channels. Like so many of them kind of early days, like built these businesses on Meta and efficiencies, they're I would say like Meta is still a very high share of wallet. But whenever there's a bug or whenever there's a change, they realize how dependent they are on Meta. And so they are like desperate to diversify out and find and unlock new channels. And what's good is that a lot of these other channels have like outsized impacts in retail and Amazon, which is, it supports that like omnichannel playbook in terms of finding new channels that unlock omnichannel sales. So if you think about it, like the more view-based a channel, like a TV, as an example, or a YouTube, the more outsized impact you see in Amazon retail, because there is no click, you're not going to the site, but you're going to buy it when it comes up and when you encounter it in the real world. And so that playbook is shifting in terms of like, okay, as these brands expand sales distribution, and they're struggling from an efficiency standpoint on Meta, they're also like really investing in diversifying out of Meta and figuring out new ways to unlock new ad channels. And so I've been, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on your guys' podcast, but I feel like AppLovin, of course, has been like a great success story, but CTV and just television, I'm just seeing a lot more interest in TV as these brands expand beyond D2C and into omnichannel.
Okay. I'm going to tell our social media manager, we're going to cut that clip and we're going to port it over to Universal Ads, or we'll get you on the Universal Ads podcast or something. But I mean, super interesting. Like and there's a lot to unpack there, but I think two things that stand out is you said, measurement, certainly incrementality, but even measurement as like something that a brand embraces earlier on it sounds like isn't something that was always the case. It was kind of an afterthought, or once you reached a certain amount of spend. Like what has changed, do you think, like for brands to feel more confident that like this is part of our go-to-market strategy? This isn't we hit 100 million in revenue and then we start measurement. Like this is part of the existing strategy. Like, yeah.
Well, I think it's those two things I mentioned around sales channel and ad channel diversification. Because think if you're buying television, you like an MTA is not going to capture the effects of that media. So just in terms of like these channels that are not inherently click based, you need some sort of alternative solution versus attribution. And so geotesting is just like a great alternative. So even if they're not fully bought into this idea of like causal experiment based testing, when you're running a channel that doesn't drive clicks, you have to figure out a solution, and geotesting is the best alternative. So that's one thing. But then geotesting also unlocks retail and Amazon. And so it's just this, you can see why as the marketing playbook is changed, the measurement playbook has changed with it. And then, you know, of course you have this, this idea of causation over correlation. You need to hold out to understand the counterfactual. That gets really sciencey, and, you know, randomized control trials. Like that is, it is funny. Like that is why enterprise companies sign up with us. And that's why analytics teams love us. But the marketing teams in the D2C space, like they like the use cases that I kind of described to them as like, oh, I can get an Amazon read. That's cool. I want that.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about it before we started recording. I mean, there are so many new channels, and like, I mean, even kind of like blended, like an omnichannel approach, like TikTok shops we were talking about. Like that's certainly like a digital channel. It's got paid components on the TikTok ads, but it's also a digital retail distribution point. Like, how do you guys evaluate, or how do you think about like these that kind of straddle what is more traditionally ads or more traditionally like retail, but they straddle?
Yeah, TikTok shops is, you know, it's a very hot topic right now. You hear, if you're on Twitter, you see people saying that like they're printing on TikTok shops. And so I've been digging into it to try to understand like, okay, what have we uncovered about TikTok shops thus far? And I mean, there are a few like just things I can say about the measurement, which is they have this product where you can push TikTok shops. It's called GMV Max. That is testable, which is great. TikTok hadn't previously made that like geo-segmentable. So that's a big update in development, is that you can actually test the ads that you drive to TikTok shops. You can measure TikTok shops separately as a sales channel. So as I mentioned, like you measure .com, you can measure Amazon, you can measure retail, you can measure TikTok shops now as the fourth kind of sales channel here. So the measurement is there. It wasn't there maybe a year ago, but like we have the infra now to actually understand this. What gets interesting is that have you heard about like their affiliate kind of model at all? And like basically when creators see that you're supporting them with ad spend, they make more creative for you. And so it's this affiliate flywheel effect, if you will, where the more you spend on these creators, the more videos they make for you. And then like the more you have out there. And that's like a whole nother thing that we have to figure out how to measure, because that's not really geo-testable. And that's like this affiliate flywheel effect that everybody in D2C is talking about right now. And I don't know if it's real or not. I'm like, just really want to see some data, but that's what everyone's getting excited about, is like, okay, if these creators are on Team Kitsch, as an example, they're just going to make tons of content for Kitsch and they're going to love it. And Comfort is running this playbook as well. I think they're absolutely crushing right now. So that's like, this is just another example of how people I think are realizing like, you can't just be like a Shopify only .com brand right now. You have to figure out how to unlock other distribution models and methods.
Yeah. I mean, we talked to brands, I mean, a few years ago, right, post-COVID, we've talked to brands now, and the love for Amazon today versus 3 years ago, where brands are like, absolutely not. I want to be direct to consumer. I want to own my consumer. I want the data. And now there's so many brands that are using Amazon as such a good distribution point for awareness, to bundle products and package products differently. And, I know some founders that are sponsored by Amazon now because they're such a champion of it. Like Amazon is as one, but even when we think about Walmart or some like GoPuff or Instacart as like the long tail of these digital distribution points, like what are brands seeing and what are they doing on these channels that are new that they were so averse to a few years ago?
I think they just have to figure out, they're trying to figure out how to grow. They're trying to figure out how to hit their growth goals. And if you're not in Amazon, you just know there's just this population that you are not accessing. Like they're never going to buy you because they only buy things on Amazon. I'm one of these people. Like if I need anything, I first go to Amazon, and if they don't have it, then I like think about it for another few months before I buy it, because I'm like, this is just going to make my life so difficult if I can't buy it on Amazon. So I just think there's a type of customer, type of consumer who's only going to buy on Amazon, and you're not unlocking them unless you sell there. And so I think that's what these brands are realizing is just you've got to be like fish where the fish are, right? And so I haven't seen that's just in terms of being on these sales channels. I haven't seen a whole lot of testing on the like RMN side in terms of like buying ads on Instacart and on GoPuff. Mm-hmm. Like I want to be doing a lot more of that. Like I know this is huge right now and everybody is talking about it. We haven't run a whole lot of geotests. Those partners don't make it super easy to geotest. But I'd be very about.
I think there's a reason why. And hi, I'm here, by the way, guys. Sorry, 10 minutes late to my own podcast. Olivia, thank you for doing this. I think, though, I suspect that most of that RMN spend is offsite. And so there just are being a bunch of reach extension in many cases. And so I wonder if there is a little bit of a hesitancy around that. I'd be curious, because it's like some of them, they're so, in many cases, a lot of them are kind of like demand rich, supply poor. And so you like kind of get in this place where like, how do you really measure it? And like, is it the effectiveness of your media or someone else's? I don't know. Is there a good way to do that? Like from
nice,
like the Haus
James.
perspective?
Like, we're not getting any retail media on this podcast anymore. You just blew up their spot.
Yeah. What are we doing here? Don't you need some RMN sponsors here? Don't we need Instacart?
Oh, sorry.
You're trying to bring Instacart in as a client at Universal Ads?
I want them to do reach extension on TV. I do, but I can understand why it's a complicated thing to measure. Just given that like it's not really a channel. So like, I think it's so funny that we all pick on Google brand search so much. Because like in reality, yes, we're all suspicious. Brand search is like the incrementality poster child. Like it's the example everyone gives, but they actually let you test it. And then there are like all of these ad opportunities that are very similar kind of functionally to brand search in this world. You've got Amazon search. You've got, James is gone again. You've got Amazon search. You've got these RMNs where you're searching for something on homedepot.com and then you get an ad for it and then you maybe buy it. And it's like, I wish advertisers could apply as much pressure to these partners as they do to Googles and the Metas of the world of like, everybody knows the Google search story at this point, but I don't think they see the ways in which that applies in this world and with RMNs as well. So I don't know. If I were an advertiser with a big budget, I would hold back dollars until they unlock some of these capabilities.
That's, you work with enough brands that maybe you can have like a conglomerate of brands that like go lobby for this, for the RMNs you want to go test.
We're trying that right now, or, never mind. I'm not going to say it. It's something about Amazon, but I shouldn't say it.
We'll bring you back. We'll bring you back for that announcement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears a little bit because like you spent so many years at Netflix, TubeMogul on the ad side, Quibi we talked about. Like obviously we're on the TV side in our day jobs. What do you see on the media side? Like where it can be Haus related or personal, but like where do you think the opportunities are on the like traditional media side as we think about like consumer consumption?
Yeah, I think I'm just thinking about like the most interesting tests that we're running right now. And by interesting, I mean like step change wins, like
Hmm.
real wins that kind of unlock like new step change in their growth journey. What that looks like right now, partnership ads on Meta, like that's a huge opportunity, huge untapped opportunity for a lot of brands who are just not doing nearly enough there. So that's like one where if a brand is not running partnership ads and then they add them in, we see like immediate wins. So that's one example. AppLovin is I'm vocal about this because I was the most skeptical of AppLovin when they were just starting off in the ecom pilot, and I was like, how is this different from everything else out there in terms of programmatic DSP inventory? Because I came from a DSP. AppLovin is like, I just looked at the data. I did an analysis in Claude and I looked at it in, 100 different ways and looks really good. So I feel like that is, they're making like a very strong case right now for number 3, number 4 partner after the usual suspects. And then the third, and I will say actually, because the trade desk has been in the news a lot, we do not run enough trade desk tests. If anyone's listening, I want to be running more. I want to get some data points on this because the same way I was suspicious of AppLovin, like I have a lot of similar questions about the trade desk, but we don't have a lot of data. Like we haven't tested this enough. So if you're interested in this test, let me know. Hit me up. Maybe we can fund something for you in terms of credits.
We do a weekly RFP on the our rundown show. So this can be your RFP. The request, a request
for trade desk testing.
Yes.
But then TV. So it's funny. I was just exchanging voice notes with a good friend of mine who's running a brand that's growing like crazy right now. And they're way beyond 9 figures at this point. They haven't done any TV. The most TV they've done is like a few $100,000 a month in CTV. And he's like, we're launching into a gigantic retailer soon. Our awareness is going to go up. I think we need to capitalize on this moment. What should I do in terms of TV? And I told him, my advice to him was like, if you're going to go buy TV, like really buy TV, like go direct to the source, because so many of these D2C brands will say they're buying TV. And then when you look at the plan and what they're actually buying, it's like cheap linear remnant cable through a middleman. And I was telling him, I was like, that's this, if what you want is to capitalize on this moment, that is not it. And so I've just always been such a proponent of like, go direct to the source, you know what you're getting, remove the middleman, if you will. And like really invest in TV. Like if you're going to invest in TV, go do it. And so, we've been running some like really interesting tests in the TV space. We've run some tests with universal ads for sure. But I think a really interesting TV test is like inventory source. Like who are you actually buying the inventory through? Are you going direct to universal ads? Are you going direct to Hulu? Are you going direct to Roku, to Netflix? And then what does that look like versus an intermediary that's like more of this kind of programmatic based approach or remnant? And those are ways you can optimize your TV mix, right? You can make it better over time of like knowing which of these partners is actually working versus just kind of bucketing all of TV as this one thing that you try for 3 months, 1 year, and then you just kind of like write off as not working. So that's like, we take a lot of customers on this journey of like, you run an incrementality test on a channel, you get a baseline read. So many brands will just stop there and like treat it as a report card of like, this was the read on this channel. And the best brands that we work with, the ones who are like actually getting ROI, are saying like, all right, that was my baseline. How do I make it better next time? How do I run another test where I double the incremental ROAS? And like inventory source, right, is just like a great example of how can I get twice as much in terms of efficiency out of my TV buy by optimizing the partner mix. And that's the journey that we go on with our customers. And that's what I'm really excited about in terms of like ROI and the ability to use these tests to improve business outcomes.
And welcome back, James. James's ears, I think, perked up, Olivia, as you were talking about everything about eliminating middlemen.
You know what? I appreciate how casual this is. It's making me feel more comfortable that you're going in and out.
Yes. I apologize. I'm excited to listen to this podcast, considering I'm only going to be on it for like 5 minutes.
I think James is going off camera to cut out the middleman. I think he's doing live what you're asking. He's going and getting it done.
Yeah, I'm very pro cut out the middleman, as you know. But I guess I don't know. You guys may have touched on this. Because I don't know. I'm barely here. Are you seeing right now? Just like given like, I guess like gas prices, kind of the shape of the economy. Like I feel like you guys have such a good seat to see, like basically like when Meta stops performing, does it kind of break everything? Like is everything kind of to some extent like like other channels can make Meta perform better, but like if Meta is performing bad, does everything else come with it?
Well, I mean, you named like the thing that triggers me so much is when people say Meta stopped working or Meta is not performing, when in reality, this is probably a business issue. This is probably something more macro related. Like I remember was it October when there was just like a whole bunch of political stuff going on.
The tariff tantrum, maybe like that kind of stuff.
And like, I think the Charlie Kirk stuff happened, maybe it was September. And it was just so obvious that it was like more macro related, but everybody thought Meta broke, and that happens all the time. And I just think that like, that's like a very convenient excuse. And so often it's more macro. And Daniel and I touched on this a little bit, like seeing a ton of brands go omnichannel, trying to unlock retail and just more distribution channels as a result of that stalling growth. And they're also trying to unlock new ad channels. But I don't think it's like Meta is not working as well. I think it's like they've kind of approached this plateau in terms of their business and consumer kind of demand that just forces them to have to like work a lot harder to unlock that next tranche of growth.
I feel like people forget there's like people on the other side of these Meta ads. There's like actual human beings that do something, and
for the time being,
like, yeah. But even that's fair for the time being. But at some point they'll like represent people, I guess. On like the omnichannel side, is anyone like? Have you seen people like going like all in on like shop campaigns and like shop app? Like, is that a real thing yet or not?
There's not a lot of scale on Shopify. I think people are buying them. We've had some, we've like, we're trying to test it more, but there's just not a whole lot of scale. There's like not enough spend there to really kind of meaningfully power a test. So I would love to see more scale in shop campaigns, because I think people, obviously they would love that inventory.
Yeah. I'm like so bullish on it, like in theory. And like it's like a total aside, but like someone brought up the point that like the great thing about them is they basically can overpay for customers because it's just user acquisition for shop app.
Yep.
And so you like kind of look at it through that lens and you're like, oh man, like this thing could be so big. Like maybe they could be like, it could become like an Amazon competitor over time, but I don't know if like, they're probably very much a ways away from it. But are you seeing anything like, have you heard anything about the ChatGPT ads or like any of that stuff yet?
No, we have a few customers who are testing right now. They're not giving any data back. So annoying. I was very vocal about this, which is like that whole team, you guys too. I think, James, I think I saw you post something, but like that whole team is ex-Meta. Like, why don't you just run the Meta playbook? Like, what works, you know how to do it. Yeah. Like you guys have enough scale, like go build a performance product. But they will, I guess it's so early that like, if they have demand and they don't need to offer anything in return. This is like Quibi. We had like $100 CPMs or something crazy, and we sold out a year before launch. But I believe in their ability to deliver a compelling ad product. And so I'm just like waiting for the day when they flip the script.
I saw some of those tweets and people were like, oh, like it's going to take them so long to build an ad platform. It's like, they have their own foundation model. Like they get to use a version of AI that we don't even know exists. Like, they can definitely build this thing. There's like no, like they could vibe code an ad manager and an API. Probably, I mean, not vibe code, but
you should send them the one you built. Yeah. Send them the one you built. See if they'll buy it for you.
Yeah.
And you like sort of saw how like Netflix's buy versus build didn't go very well. And so I don't think anyone points to the Netflix ad story as like a smashing success. And so I don't know. It's like a performance marketer at heart. I am anxiously awaiting the day where they decide to prioritize this. I also am dying for Twitter to prioritize their ad product. Like this is
They just announced a really big BOGO.
I think I saw I haven't read that story yet. I want to hear about it. But like my dream is to be the head of ads at X because I think there's so much opportunity and it's just completely untapped.
I love my job, but I love X more than most people. And one day, I agree with you. And I think that product could be so sick. Actually, Dan and I talked about this a couple weeks ago where I think they kind of have the benefit of like the legacy ad product was so bad that they kind of can just kind of start from scratch around Grok. And so like they don't have the revenue trap that like so many others are in right now. Like even many of the TV businesses have this problem, right? Where like there is an existing business. How do you make sure you can like actually kind of dance that dance? Whereas I think in the case of them, I think they can make it incredible. So yeah, they just put out a thing where I think it's spend 200K, get 200K. Like it's a big one. And I don't think Elon would do that if he didn't believe that thing was going to rip. And I heard rumors, I guess, but like pretty good ones that like they're going to go super hard into shopping, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. And so like, yeah, I think he wants to own like the entire stack, which would be cool. I still am confused about what meetings are like as an ads PM with like SpaceX engineers. But that's like a separate problem, I guess.
Yeah, there's so many issues to your point that like it's just probably a full scrap it and start
totally
new.
Throw it away.
But like you've got to believe that they know how to build great AI machine learning models. Like that's core competency. Like he just hates ads. And like, that's the problem, right? Is like, he just doesn't like ads. Like they've never done advertising at Tesla. And that's why I feel like they'll never really go all in. It's just principally, he just hates them.
There's like a long road of people who hated ads that eventually did, but he may be one that's hard to talk into it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's good for your business and good for conversations like this where brands have to choose between 4 different ad-supported AI models, 15 different social networks, 30 CTV platforms. Like, it's hard. It's hard to measure, hard to understand what's working, what's not. So I don't know. Good for your business. But I guess before we let you go, you are like a prolific LinkedIn and Twitter writer. I mean, like, if you're not following you, what are you doing in this industry?
Do you write your own things? Do you write all those yourself?
Yeah, I do.
Those are very good.
Well, it is. I think that's both a blessing and a curse because nothing I do is PR-ified, but I occasionally need to apologize for the tweet. So, yes,
they're honest takes. Yeah, they're like honest, authentic takes. But for anyone that isn't following you, like where can they get in touch? Where should they be following?
Twitter, Olivia Kory, LinkedIn. We do a open house podcast as part of our company, Haus Analytics, that we're investing a lot more into, and we have some amazing guests coming in. We have Shark Ninja, we have Wayfair, like the probably most sophisticated marketers on the planet lined up for the next month or two. So we're investing a lot more there, and I would love for you all to check it out.
All right, we'll check it out. Haus is incredible. You guys have been great partners to us, and the product's also just like sick.
You're wearing a melon hat. We just had Ben from Olakai Melon on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the man.
I'm like obsessed with melon.
It's so funny.
Best hats in the world.
Zach, our founder, like we have like hundreds of customers. The most excited he ever was signing melon. Like I'm
like super pumpy. Can we get them testing CTV together? I'll get them some ad credits. Can we do this?
I'll hit up Ben. I'm sure he'd be down. Especially
partnership live. Yeah, partnership live on ADSN.
Someone tweeted because I wear this hat every day. They're like, the amount of screen airtime you give Melon, and is that kind of messed up? But I was last year, like my house burned down. I lived in the Palisades, my house burned down, and I went on TV a few times, and I wore melon hats. And actually, the founder hit me up, and he's like, "Dude, I get like all these things." Like, so, he was very nice. Like, I'm so sorry that happened, but also like, thank you for wearing the hat. It was like, I was like, thank you. I'm like, I don't know, like something.
I remember James. James, did you ever see yourself becoming like a political community activist?
No.
Or did the moment just lent itself, like you felt like it was your duty to step up at that moment?
It sounds kind of cheesy, but I was like sitting there talking to my wife, and I was like, I gotta make sure that my kids know how insane this is. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go do it. And like at the time, honestly, like there was a little bit of like negative feedback from the community. Because everyone was like, now everyone knows it was like such a disaster. Now it's like clear that like what happened there was like so unnecessary and like so uncaused, but like it just got political kind of fast.
Yeah, it's like now is not the time type.
But my kind of point was like, now is the time because everyone's gonna forget about us.
Yep.
And I don't know if it helped. I think it helped because I think it like led to other people feeling like, okay, I can like say something about it. But yeah, the whole thing was just like, I want there to be like, I want my kids to be able to at least like know that we were like, that it's not okay, you know?
I wonder how many people left Los Angeles because of you, James. Like, I would love to get a test on that of like,
I think a lot of people I think have come. Yeah. I think a lot of people have come to the South Bay because of not me, but because a lot of people have left LA. Like, and I no longer live in LA City. I live in Manhattan Beach, and like, I wouldn't go back to LA City. It's like. So maybe more people just left because they heard that, but yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, melon hats the whole time. I've been very consistent with that at least, so that's good.
Awesome.
All right, well, weird ending, but I like it, and I'm sorry that I had to jump in and out, but thank you for doing this. And
this is great. I got to know Dan. Also, I realized maybe halfway throughout this conversation that we call him Dan. So,
you call him anything. People call him Hammer. People call him Danny.
One person calls me Hammer, and he's on this call. But yeah.
That's not true. Paris Sandell calls me Hammer.
You're right. Fair enough.
It was good. I was hoping to get to know him better anyway. So this is for the best.
This was great, and we had like live listener questions in James.
Yes. All right, thank you.
All right.
Have a good one.